Finding the words, how to set boundaries that actually feel good to say. I'm Melissa. I'm an executive coach and a management consultant, and I work with leaders. I work with executives and managers at different levels, and I help them enhance their communication, build their influence, and have an impact in the workplace. I help them build self managed, high performing teams, and I help them actually have a voice at the table, one that is respected, trusted, and heard. Joining me today is someone who is near and dear to me and part of my team, Kay. Kay is able to speak to a little bit about what we're going to be talking about from that employee perspective. So, Kay, what should people tuning in know about you?
Well, I'm Kay. I'm Melissa's right hand at InCharge Coaching. I help deliver great value to leaders by equipping them with tools and resources that help them lead with clarity and confidence. I also help bring these workshops and masterclasses to life. But today, really, I'm just wearing my employee hat. And this topic, the boundaries, is very personal. I see what happens on the inside when a leader doesn't quite find the right words and how much clarity and calm it brings when they do. So I'm very, very excited about this topic. It's a very important topic.
Yeah. And so in my work, it is oh it is really speaking the right things can be a struggle, and setting boundaries can feel really awkward. And without boundaries, so here is the struggle. When I'm working with someone who is not speaking their boundaries very, very clearly, we get a lot of tension and conflict. People are not taking responsibility. We have some avoidance. We have a manager or a leader who's over functioning, overworking, carrying too much on their shoulder, and it is not sustainable. And so boundaries and even knowing that we need boundaries is not that hard for people to know about and know that it's important. I've yet to meet a client who doesn't say no, boundaries isn't for me. They know, and they often know that they often know what they are.
Yeah.
The struggle is in the how to say it. How do I say it in a way that doesn't cause my employees to demotivate, that won't cause my supervisor from losing faith in me, that doesn't compromise my career in some way, right? How do I protect myself, my energy, my time, my well being, my performance
Mhm.
without getting the reaction, the pushback, and the potential complication?
Yeah.
And, speaking those boundaries is awkward. Have you felt that awkwardness before for yourself?
Definitely, 100%. And not just in work life and personal life as well. It's very complicated to tell your boundaries or say it out loud without just like you said, without the fear of disrespecting someone else, or oh, am I coming on too strong, or making it vague. Just communicating it and for it to land correctly is a very big deal, and it's a very important of what makes up your boundaries. And I think communication is everything. So I
Yeah.
think from the employee side, I've been on both ends. I've been in situations where things were vague and you start second guessing, you're spiraling, wondering if you messed up. Or and then I've also have had moments where the boundary was so clear, like you, Melissa, like saying I'll be offline for my workout, or I'll be not present during this day because of a holiday, but I'm present in this capacity. So it immediately tells me that okay, she's got her time, I've got mine, so let's carry on. It's not about control anymore, it's about trust. So communication is a big deal, and you do it beautifully, and I think you have a lot to teach and people can learn from that.
And so,
Well,
you're showing the opportunity that it is possible to say it in a way that feels good. Say it in a way that doesn't create a wall, but creates a bridge to work together. It creates trust. It creates clarity in how we're going to work in the best way possible. And we are setting boundaries. So, this is something that we don't realize. We're setting boundaries or not all day long. So unknowingly, you have so you're either taking the opportunity to set the boundaries or you're not, all day long. In every conversation, there are boundaries. There are boundaries. Every time you're negotiating work, what is going to happen next. So that could be boundaries with yourself, how you negotiate and communicate boundaries with yourself about what you're going to do and what you're not going to do, where the bounds of your role is, right? What you're comfortable with, what you're not comfortable with, where the limits are, under what conditions are you willing to do something. And so there's also the boundaries that we communicate every day with our staff, with the people who report to us. Boundaries around when we're available, what we're going to communicate, what is our capacity that of our availability. Hey, today's a holiday for me, but I'm available in these circumstances. Right?
yeah.
We can also, and we are also speaking boundaries to our colleagues, to the people that we're coordinating work with. What's ours, what's not ours, what's the responsibility of my team, the responsibility of your team. How are we going to communicate? How are we going to exchange information? What do we need from you in order for us to do our job? And then we have communication around boundaries with our supervisors and our upline, because decisions are being made that impact us, right? We're being handed down information and decisions and expectations. And as we're receiving these, there's the opportunity to set boundaries around, in what capacity can you take that on? What will you do and not do? What do you need from your upline in order to execute on this request or this demand? What is a timeline? They might give you an expectation of a timeline, but what is the real timeline? What is realistic? And do you feel comfortable bringing this forward? Or do you feel comfortable communicating your concerns? Do you feel comfortable communicating your needs in those moments? That's all part of setting the boundary. And notice that I didn't say, are you comfortable pushing back? Because communicating boundaries doesn't mean you're pushing back. And when you hear something like, ooh, we have to push back, or we have to put a wall, or we have to say no, that becomes scary. And when those fears come up, what if they lose trust in me? What if it damages the relationship? What if my employees, what if it demotivates them? Right?
Yeah.
Then we start avoiding. We avoid setting the boundaries, or we over soften the boundary. We might say something, but we'll kind of like sneak it in to other things to kind of like, oh, but I've said it. Have you?
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
we communicated was that, right?
Yeah.
Or we leave it vague. We kind of say like a blanket statement.
Mm-hmm.
But so yes, you've communicated it, but not in a way that can be understood.
Yeah.
And really, like, it's important to bring it to life. It's important for it to be so clear that there's no mistaking what you're trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing that happens is, because we're avoiding, because we're kind of sneaking it in, because we're walking around it, the frustration you know,
Ooh,
builds
yeah.
it builds up, and it chips away at our energy, our well-being, our time, right? There's always that stretch thin for time. And then we overcorrect, right? We feel like we need to scream it at someone in order, right? There's like this, like,
Yeah.
I need to hit them in the upside the head with it for them to hear me. And it is
Mhm.
not needed. That is not needed. That's an overcorrection because of all of the accumulation of frustration. So we're going from one end to the other. And
Mm,
I have felt this. Like, I know this pain. I'm speaking about this from, personal experience, as well as accompanying my client with it. I have felt that struggle. I have felt that knowing where my limits are, getting myself ready to speak them, sitting down, and then not saying it, walking away from the conversation, not having said what I needed to say.
yeah. So relatable. I've done that too. Like it's just here. It's just here, but it doesn't get out
Yeah.
because you have so many presumptions and you have so many prejudices that you don't speak it out. And plus you don't know how to speak it. It's not talked about enough.
Yeah, exactly. And then, what I have found in all of my studies and all of the work that I've done as a coach is how to do it in a way that feels good. I have found a way to create a bridge to make it so straightforward and easy to communicate and done with intention all of the time. So when it
Mm,
comes to boundaries, to me, that's not an afterthought. It's not something that I do when things go wrong. It's not a correction. So to me, boundaries is a way of being. It's the way that I communicate. It is very intentional. It's very considerate of the other person. It's considerate of the situation. It's considerate of the business context.
yeah.
And it is clear, it is confident, it is assertive, and it's continuous. And because it is continuous, it's easy.
Mm,
And that's what I help my clients do. So I have done it for myself and I help my clients do this. And what's on the other end of that is ease. It's working better with people, it's clarity. And so you are on the other end of that, Kay. What is your experience and how are things different in the way we do it?
a lot different. I think one moment that stands out was actually a couple of weeks ago or last week that I was trying to schedule a quick meeting and asked you if we could just squeeze it in the same week or the same day. And you just clearly said that you don't have space this week. It was such a simple sentence, but it was such a clear one. You didn't over explain or you didn't apologize, and I didn't feel brushed off. I felt informed. And I think that I knew at that moment that how to set boundary and how to work around it, and it could be done. And same thing with your workouts or when you're offline for a holiday, you always let me know that hey, like I'll be away, but here's how I'll be available and here's what I will be checking on, and that gives me sort of permission to do the same. And when a leader models healthy boundaries, it sort of tells the whole team it's okay to protect your time, and it creates a lot of clarity when things are vague or left unsaid, and I never ever have to guess where your head's at. Or there's a lot of transparency, and honestly that builds a lot of trust, and that's the trust that we have within our team, and that's why I enjoy working so much with you.
Yeah. And so you hear these words of transparency, authenticity, trust, clarity, confidence.
Yeah.
I can also take care of my needs, right?
Mhm.
And in the same sentence or paragraph as boundaries. So these things are not one or the other, they coexist in a very beautiful way. And that's exactly what I'm going to be covering in the masterclass. So if you haven't registered yet, tomorrow we have the Boundaries and Balance Masterclass, where I'm going to be walking you through. First off, we're going to be taking a look at what are those boundaries that you do want to communicate. So what is top of mind for you? And when it comes to boundaries, they are always in evolution. So it's not static. It's something that needs to be updated all the time, especially if you've just gone through a change in your role, change in workplace, a life change.
Yeah.
Even if your kids are going through different stages, like there, anytime there's any kind of change around you, it's really important to update those boundaries. What do they look like now? And everyone's boundaries are very unique to them and their situation and what they need. So, like a fingerprint. So we're going to be starting by revisiting this. I'm going to be walking you through an exercise so you can reflect on what are those boundaries that you need for right now. Okay. Second, we're going to look at communicating that with assertiveness and with confidence. What is that going to look like for you? And then we're going to touch on respect. How do we respect boundaries and how do we maintain them over time? Because communicated once doesn't equal a boundary that is
Not at all.
consistent and respected by yourself and others. All right. So we're going to be covering those 3 pieces tomorrow in the masterclass so that you can walk away and you can start feeling good about communicating those boundaries. That's something that's really important to me. I know it's really important to my clients, and I want to equip that. I want to equip you with that. I want to empower you so that you can feel good in speaking those boundaries. It makes a lot of difference.
It does.
And now is the time because it's happening tomorrow. So in order to register, you're going to go to InChargeCoaching.ca/masterclass. Claim your seat. It is completely free. All you need to do is book that time in your calendar and show up for 2 hours tomorrow. It's from 12 to 2 on Eastern time. So it's a 2-hour masterclass. For those who show up live, you will be receiving the workbook. So for those of you who have worked with me, you'll know that workbooks are really important because they are your blueprint. So you're going to be able to walk away from the masterclass and rinse and repeat. All right. So show up live, take that time for you to invest in yourself and to create more balance so that you can show up at your best in those critical moments when things are out of balance on the external. You will have that internal balance to show up at your best. So what happens if you don't come to the masterclass?
Well, you don't get to ask your questions or share your real life situations or get real time support. And honestly, from the last masterclass we did, the energy in the room was unreal. People were opening up, they were sharing things they'd never said before, and they did walk away with a lot of clarity. I feel like the replay is great, but there's just something about being there, in the moment with other leaders who are navigating the same messiness or the same situation. So yeah, that's what you get if you attend live. And our workbook.
This is your invitation to update your boundaries because you deserve it.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
now is the time. So book your seat. It's completely free, and I can't wait to sit down with you tomorrow and dig into it. So have a great one. Happy Monday. See you tomorrow. Bye.
See you.